Hi, Petty Officer First Class Joe here. Today I'm going to teach you how to sew. Alright, so my videos from now on will be a little bit more informal in order to speed up the process. So here's what you will need in order to sew your badges, rank, or whatever on, for example. Don't know if you guys can see this. You first need a thread. Sorry, this is not a thread, this is a needle. You need a needle as your number one thing. Alright, number two, you need threads. For secrets specifically, you need black. There's a, there's certain cases where you need different color in order to sew on your core crest, but it is specific to each core. But mostly you need black. Number two, you will need either bobby pins or any like pins that can hold in your badges while you position them. I find that it helps it a lot when you do the sewing. You'll need either a thread scissors or a simple knife to cut threads, whichever one suits you, doesn't matter. Alright, so you will first start by, so if you look at this, I have something holding this badge on. I need to reposition them because I got a new Coast Guard deployment badge that I have to sew on. This is fully sewed on, but I had to reposition this one. The reason there's like a pin here is to hold the rest of it. I sewed on half of it before I realized that, hey, might as well make a video out of it, right? Since I'm already sewing. So let's do it from start to finish. I'm going to be showing you guys everything in between as well. But I will only be sewing half of this since I'm almost done. So you start by getting your thread. Alright? You have to, in order to tell like how much thread you need to see how big the thing you're sewing on your uniform is. Alright? If it's like a small square badge, you only need about like this much, no more than this much, right? But if it's like a petty officer second class rank, then it's gonna be a lot more. It's gonna be like probably a lot more. Also, you have to account for spare length in order to like actually put it through here, put it through the needle, and you also have to account for the knot you have to tie at the end as well. So make sure to keep that in mind. Since I'm only doing half, this will be a lot more shorter. But let me time lapse this until I get this in. Alright, we finally got it through. This is usually the worst part of sewing. Small advice, don't be like me and get a small needle. You need to get one with a bigger hole in the ends so you don't spend too much time threading through your needle. So now that you have this, you want to position it, save as much thread as possible, and then you tie just a dead knot, basically double it so it doesn't, don't make it too thick or else it's gonna bite you back while you're sewing. It's gonna prove to be an obstacle based on personal experience. Alright, just tie any knot, actually not any knot, just tie a standard like dead knot. I actually don't know the term for it, but yeah, you know what I mean. Just like look, one loop, then you tie dead, then you repeat that. Once you get the setup done, you're basically going to be fine. Then it's up to you if you want to cut off the excess. I usually don't because it doesn't really get in the way, but if you find it gets in the way or have too much excess, I suggest slimming it down a little bit. But normally it shouldn't be anything to worry about. Okay, have it through again. This is what the knot's supposed to look like, in case it wasn't more clear. If it's, yeah, like that. Then you pull it through. So now, the top is done. Now you have to do the bottom now. So you have this now. Now you have to go to the very bottom, right? What I like to do is, because you already have a knot at the front, you can't tie a simple knot at the back. It doesn't work. It's gonna go right through, or it's at least gonna have a very weak hold before it pulls through. So what I like to do is I like to double up on my threads, right? Don't give it too much room. I double up on them, right? I give it a little like twist to bunch them together, and then I tie a knot using the new thicker variant, and I pull through only once. Okay, once I pull, it's a thicker knot now. Then it is up to you if you wanna slim down the singular knot so it doesn't like take up too much space. In this case, I will, right? All right. Now that that's done, you're ready to sew. All right. We can you can set this aside. Grab your tunic or uniform. All right. Got your tunic with you. Now you have the so with the rest of the tunic, don't bunch it up too much. You can just have it sit on your lap. Well, you grab the part where you want to sew. For in our cases, it is this part, and then let me reposition the camera first before I show you guys. All right, the camera has been repositioned. So as I said before, have your tunic. This is my style. You don't really have to follow this if you already have a set style, but have it sit on your lap. Don't bunch it up intentionally, just however it sits. Then you locate the part where you want to sew. In this case, we're trying to sew near our cuffs. So in order for easier access, you will undo them. A little self-explanatory. And then, so I already have this positioned on, but if the case was different, whereas I had to position it first, I would wear it and then have bobby pins, right? I'll stick it on and then put it on my arm, so I would see how it looks in the mirror. If I like what I see, I remove these and I replace them with pins that you can put on. Then it stays in place while you sew it. So now that we have our needle, we can begin sewing now. By the way, you always want to start inside, so the stopper knot appears on the inside and it doesn't show on the outside. All right, so you always begin on the inside. And then reason why I said to have your tunic sitting like a as like a padding on your lap, so then you can use it to pierce the very thick material that Secret has used for their badges, right? You want to sew on the very edge of the border, right? Not the very edge, but you see where the material is most thick. You want to sew around that, and there's a few techniques I can show you guys. So once you pierce it, you want to pull it through, right? Now, right, and then you want to look inside your thread and go along the line of it. You want to go along the lines. Just follow a natural path. Go on. Once you go under, right? Once you go under, you don't want to go repeat the same place and go under again. Otherwise, you have to start over again. Once you go under and through and go up, now you go up and down. Right, and then you sit it on. Once you line it up, you sit it down and you watch your fingers and you pierce it. Once you pierce it using the bedding, you follow it through and guide it through. And now this is the kicker. Once you start sewing a little bit, you want to pull very lightly, not too lightly, but firmly. You know how some of your friends' badges or some of even your seniors' badges, like when you look at them, you see how they're very loose and you can almost like put like your fingers through it. No, that's not good. In order to defeat that, every time you sew, you need to, right, you're gonna give it a light pull, not too hard, otherwise the thread would snap. Give it a light but firm pull to reinforce the pull, the hold on the badge, right? I wouldn't do it every single thread. I do it maybe like every 3 to 4 threads just to reinforce it. Now I'm going to run a time lapse and just sew this. Once I sew this, um, I will show you guys how to tie a stopper knot. And then once you're basically done, you want to make sure your last thread goes from outwards to inwards, right? So we can end the stopper knot on the inside. So the ugly threads, like the stopper threads, like this one, for example, doesn't poke out. All right, you want to make sure this is very key, so you don't have to make mistakes, whatnot. All right, give it a final pull. Then, once you're here, right, here's what you want to do. All right, so here's what you want to do. Let me reposition the camera so you guys can see. Bring it to the side with a loop. Then you grab this, right? Grab, you see the very top of it? You want to grab the excess threads and you want to loop it around it 4 times, all right? One, you want to hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should look like this, right? Should look like this. Now you want to press onto it and feed it through, right? Press onto the threads and whatnot and feed it through. Then once it's through, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then just follow it through until you feel a knot. Once you feel a knot, you're good. So you want to very carefully remove the excess threads now. All right. If this demonstration was unclear, please let me know in the comments below. I will be more than happy to drop an update on how to tie a stopper knot. But now, for all sakes and purposes, this is sewn on. All right, the uniform has been sewn on. All right, it's good as new. All right, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.